So out here this morning, figured I'd come out and make some arrows. I'm gonna try making some arrows for my bow and also some Atlatl arrows. And behind me is, I believe, bamboo. I know the Indians used to use cane, but I'm not positive that this is not cane, but I'm pretty sure it isn't. From what I've read, cane generally prefers closer to the water, which this is not. And it also sounds like there's a pithy center in cane, and this appears to be hollow, but I'm going to use this as the main shaft and then do a hard foreshaft. So stay tuned, I'll get you a close-up of this plant. Maybe someone can help me out with it. Alright, so I'm going to look for basically standing straight pieces as much as I can. Not sure whether to go green or dry, so I'm thinking I might try one of each. And so I'm going to go ahead and collect a couple pieces of this. I figure I'm going to make some Mulefat arrows as well today, so we'll collect our materials and get started. Alright, so I have just a couple shafts here, one dry, one green. Both seem pretty straight. Gonna go ahead and harvest some Mulefat for the foreshafts, as well as just some solid arrows, and I'll show you what that looks like. Alright, so this is Mulefat, otherwise also referred to as arrowwood, and as you can hopefully see, lots of really straight shafts. One of the things that's unique, it does look a lot like the willow leaf. However, one thing I've noticed is if you squeeze it a bunch and kind of warm it up, it gets kind of sticky, whereas the willow does not. They say it is actually edible. I can attest that it does not taste good, so they consider it a famine food. One of the easy ways to identify it versus the willow is the straight lines on the bark here. Very unique, very different from the willows out there. Also, the seed heads look different as well. I don't see any around. I think it may be too late this time of year, but I'm going to go ahead and harvest a few of these out. Some to make the entire arrow out of, and others to make foreshafts for the cane backings. Stay tuned. Okay guys, so just taking off all the bark here. Just gonna take the bark off the Mulefat real quick, and then see if I can get a quick mating between this and some of that cane. Forgot to mention the Mulefat actually is my favorite material for hand drill. If I get enough time, maybe I'll try that while I'm out here too. Always good to practice off the landscape. Alright guys, well, I'm going to go ahead and get this all debarked and slightly mated together and show you my progress here in just a little bit. Alright guys, so here's the first of several arrows for this morning with a Mulefat foreshaft. Show you what that looks like. Can you see it? There we go. With the Mulefat foreshaft, you can see I basically hollowed that, or left it a little long right before one of the nodes. Went ahead and sharpened this off to Just make it go in pretty good. And there you have it. Wrap it with sinew. So I do have a little tiny bend in this, so I'm going to take it home and I cut it green, so I'm going to run it over the fire a little bit, straighten it out before I put the sinew on. So now I'm going to try the green one, see how that one does. So far this was the dead piece of bamboo, and I broke a couple nodes out unintentionally, but overall it seemed to work pretty good, so keep at it. The one thing also with this, you may be wondering, I watched a lot of video from Paul Campbell's Dirt Time event, and he mentioned, you know, having forward weight. So some people would have really long foreshafts, other people would do short ones, and the tail is intentionally light. You want to basically, you're looking for the weight in the front of your arrow for penetration purposes. So I'll get back with you soon. Alright guys, so this one's the green shaft. I can tell you it was a lot easier to work with. You know, both of them, needless to say, bamboo is really easy to cut through, but the dried stuff seemed to break out a lot easier, whereas this stuff just, I literally did this in like 2 minutes, I would say, maybe 3. And so basically same thing, just haul it out on this guy, the top about an inch away from the node or so, and smaller side going in the back, and you can see just how nice and snug that fit is as well. I really like the way it's fitting together. And another thing I didn't mention is Mulefat's got that pith in the center, so I offset my arrow tip to where it's out towards the harder wood. Hopefully it doesn't change the trajectory or how well the arrow shoots, but I figured, you know, from a strength perspective, that's the way to roll. So just gonna make probably these 2 Atlatl darts and move on to a couple arrows to add into my primitive quiver for my bow. So get back at you. All right guys, so working on these foreshafts, and I was getting ready to straighten this one a little bit, and I'm looking at the green one obviously, and it's really soft and flexible, which is definitely a negative. So even though it was easier to carve on, I don't think I'm going to use this arrow, or at least let it dry, see if I can maybe use it that way. But this other one, see, I got a little brown there hardening it, but this other one is working pretty good. So let's get the foreshaft there, and so we'll definitely keep this guy and sinew wrap it here in just a short. You can see the pith kind of got burned a little bit. I'm not worried about that. Stuff's real soft in the center. So gonna straighten these other Mulefat arrows and keep running. Okay, so I have some turkey feathers here, and I'm gonna go ahead and get them ready for some fletching. So basically what I'm gonna do is take each one of these, split them down in half, sometimes I find it's easier if you pull the turkey feather, other times it's easier to pull a knife. So going with the knife this time. Again, trying to take the center of the feather. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and split these out. I got a few feathers, so I'll split them all out and show you guys the next step. Alright, it looks like I might not have recorded some of what I thought I was, but so basically all I did is I did a little clove hitch, started this off, wrapped it a couple times, switched over to or added in one of the fletchings and rolled it a few times. Did the same thing with the other one. I'm not too worried about exactly how it's sitting yet. I'll straighten it up later, but now I'm just going to start going through the feathers. So just going to find where they seem like they want to lay. Just kind of jiggle my way through the feather. Now as I get towards the end here, I'm gonna start cranking down a little bit on the weight I'm putting on this, so I will want to get it to where it's just about where I want it, which is pretty much where it is right now. Now I'm just gonna do a similar type of finish like I did on the other one, where basically I'm gonna take a piece, make a loop, put that loop across the piece, and then wrap right over that. So there we go. And again, I do recommend several wraps to make sure that this stays together when you're all done. Okay, pretty happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and put the tag through the loop. Now I'm simply going to take the tag ends of the loop string, which are right here, I'll wrap it around my piece here. Didn't need it that long. And so now I'm just going to take these two tag end pieces and pull the excess string, or the tag end of my string, through under all the other wrappings. There it comes. Oh, broke off, but I think we're going to be able to salvage that. I'm going to grab a Leatherman or something and pull this through, and then I'll show you guys what we got. Be right back. Okay, so not my best fletching, but I'm pretty happy with it. You know, a lot of people will trim these and make them just, you know, just at a certain pitch and everything. Again, I'm not too concerned about it. We'll see how they fly. I'm not very good at throwing them yet, but we're gonna give it a go. don't know, this one's short enough I might use it as an arrow as opposed to an Atlatl dart. It's pretty small for an Atlatl. But that's how we fletch them, boys. So I won't bore you with actually putting this force shaft on there, but I'm going to go ahead and sinew wrap this guy on real quick. And then I'm going to do one more arrow, and then we'll go from there.